So, you want to do the blue steel again like we did in the last video?
I don't know. You think they're gonna still care about it? Like we did the same bit a week ago.
Yeah, but they're going to laugh at it just as much, if not harder this time. It's only been a week.
Yeah, I know, but it's like the same joke. Fuck it.
Yeah, it doesn't quite have the same effect. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to MaffmanJones Movie Reviews. I'm your host, John Maffia. Once again, joining me is John Ryan Anderson, and we are here to review Zoolander 2, the sequel that definitely came out in 2002, or was meant to be coming out in 2002, but actually came out this year. Zoolander 2 takes place 15 years later. The Center for Children Who Can't Read Good got destroyed, and it puts our main character in a very bad place. But once Mugatu is coming back to try to do something that's evil and stuff, he has to come back with Hansel, and they have to try to save the day. And also reunite with his son.
Yeah, that sounds like a plot. It's almost like the first one that didn't exactly have a plot, but an interesting premise and funny jokes.
Funny jokes.
Yeah.
I missed those.
Yeah, those were good. So the beginning of this movie, you're kind of playing catch up, and it's like, like, what happened to Zoolander about these last 15 years? Because, I've been dying to wonder
Oh, yeah.
what happened to Zoolander after Zoolander 1, because that's definitely what I needed. And you have Zoolander's kind of a hermit, right? Is that what he says? He's like,
he's a hermit crab.
I'm a hermit crab. And I'm like, it didn't ring. But you have Hansel, who's also kind of an outcast because his face got messed up. But that whole first half is just really tiresome because it's like, I get it. Like, honestly, you could have started this movie just like, hey, 15 years later, this is where we're at, and that's fine. Because I felt like they were trying to make those scenes really funny, and it just didn't land like a lot of jokes in this movie.
Even though we said there was a plot, I felt like it was doing too much with the plot that it had. And it was too concerned with trying to be funny. It's too hard and too little. The balance was kind of off in this movie, it felt like.
It definitely has the sequel syndrome that it's trying to remind you, like, hey, remember that joke from the first one? That was really funny then. Let's do it again in kind of different context.
There's a lot of callbacks in this one.
It doesn't really work. And I'm like, I see what you were going for, but I'm like, I chuckled, maybe.
Yeah, callbacks are funny, but in the right context. The context wasn't fitting in this movie. It's good to have a couple to be like, oh yeah, I remember that, or I remember this. But it felt like they were relying too much on things from the past too, rather than making their own funny jokes for this movie, so it could stay on its own as a sequel. I feel like if it came out literally in 2003 or 2004, it would have done so much better.
Mm-hmm.
All the actors, absolutely, all the actors in the movie are fine. They're doing really good. Penelope Cruz, newcomer Kristen Wiig, like they're all. Everybody's doing a good job with their roles, but it just feels like it feels very outdated.
Penelope Cruz is actually really good. Like, she would have been perfect, especially if it came out like 2003, because she is very attractive, and I think she's tried her damnest to like make this stuff work.
What she's in. Yeah, she knows what she's in for, so she's just having fun with it.
You mentioned Kristen Wiig, which was probably the most irritating character for me personally. Every time she was on camera, I was just like, could she please go away? She's just like not funny. Her accent's annoying me, and I just don't care. They could have completely cut her character completely, and it probably would have done the film a little bit better, in my opinion.
I agree, but I also disagree, because I feel like Kristen Wiig has that eccentric quality to her where she always makes something that she creates work. And something about her face and those expressions she would make made me like chuckle a little bit. But I do agree that you could have taken her out of the movie, and it could have been just as funny or not as funny, depending on wherever you stand, if you've seen the movie too.
There was definitely elements, though, that I was like, oh yeah, this is just like Zoolander. Like, especially when Zoolander and Hansel are together, there's brief like glimpses of them being like, oh, the gang's back together, and it like makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't feel forced either, though.
Mm-hmm. I kind of find the intro with like Justin Bieber was actually I thought it was kind of funny.
No spoil. It's not really a spoiler.
Yeah, but you saw it in the trailer.
Yeah, the intro of the movie is that scene where you see "Peace out, world." But it was a really it's a nice way to get people introduced into the world again, but at the same time keeping it in the retro style of Zoolander. because you got Justin Bieber, who caters to people who are millennials. At the same time, just the idea of Zoolander with this blue steel, like, oh, okay.
And then they even make note that, like, can you believe that there's kids that don't even know who Zoolander is? And I'm like, that's true.
You know what's weird? There are people who are like, who have been born after 2000 who were old enough to see this movie with a clear conscience and not know who Ben Stiller is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's kind of weird.
It's depressing.
We're old as fuck.
I know. Don't get old, kids. Go watch them. If you saw the first Zoolander, you saw Zoolander 2. It has very similar plots. But if you're a fan of the series, you'll get a few chuckles out of this. But if you didn't like the first Zoolander, do not see this movie.
No, just stay away from it.
Because you will hate it even more.
I would say, too, if you put this movie right next to Zoolander 1 and you just had like a double feature, like a Netflix double feature, Zoolander 1, Zoolander 2, in like 3 hours, boom, like that, it would be a better experience. Because they are pretty much the same movie back to back, which is a compliment to the movie. It's a miss as a comedy sequel, but it's not exactly the worst miss known to man. Like, there is fun to be had in it. But definitely watch it alongside Zoolander 1 in the marathon, or just know what you're getting into. But if you're not a fan of, like you said, if you're not a fan of the first one, and you're not going to be a fan of this one either, it's just going to feel like a pointless waste of your time.
It's definitely like it's a rainy Sunday afternoon, and I have nothing to do, so I guess I'll watch Zoolander because it's on HBO, and I could go and do other things like make a sandwich or do some homework while it's on in the background and maybe chuckle.
Yeah, I'm going to give Zoolander 2 a 2 out of 5 stars. It's a Sam Worthington. It's an average comedy.
Sorry.
It's a Rob Schneider.
It's a Rob Schneider. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. just because that's like a perfect rating. There's painful parts of it that I'm just like cringing, but overall, you're going to have an okay time with this movie, especially if you're a fan of the first one.
Exactly.
Sonny, you're on. Come on. We rehearsed this.
Why are you so camera shy? So, if you enjoyed this review, please like this, subscribe to this, subscribe to his channel, The Comic Look, annotation right there, and in the info box.
And if you're going to go see a movie this weekend, definitely go see Deadpool, because it's a much better film. And we both did reviews on it. We saw it together, but we both did separate reviews. So
we'll put them both down.
Yeah, check his review out. Check my review out. If you guys like DC comic book TV shows, definitely check out my channel. I do afterthought videos on each episode and different comic book stuff between DC and Marvel. So look out for stuff like that.
He makes dope videos. I'm John Maffio, aka MaffmanJones.
I'm John Ryan Anderson.
And we'll see you guys next time.
It's biting my head!
Sonny, you wild animal. Oh, wait, you are an animal. That makes sense.